Hello everyone. If there's one thing the world can count on, it's that Harry and Meghan never fail to deliver drama. But even I was floored when I saw the latest twist in this never-ending circus. The images of Nacho Figueras and his wife, Delina Blacker, cuddled up with Zara and Mike Tindall at the Magic Millions Carnival in Australia almost made me fall off my chair. For those who have conveniently forgotten, Nacho was once Harry's partner in crime, the man who stood by him when the royal circus began its chaotic unraveling. The man who defended their every move, appearing in their Netflix specials, swearing loyalty through thick and thin. But now he's hanging out with the Tindalls, the ultimate embodiment of the calm, drama-free royal life Harry and Meghan could only dream of. Can we take a moment to talk about Zara's sheer elegance? There she was, a picture of grace at the event, representing her royal family with dignity and poise. No Oprah interviews, no tell-all books, just pure, unadulterated class. And Mike? Well, Mike Tindall, the man who doesn't scream for attention and doesn't need to manipulate the media to gain relevance. There they were, at the heart of the Magic Millions, not just making appearances, but embodying what it truly means to serve the monarchy with sincerity. Meghan, are you taking notes yet? You can almost hear Meghan's tantrum from here. I'm sure she wasn't pleased when she heard that her former friend was cozying up to the Tindalls. Word has it that in Montecito, crockery was thrown, and Netflix executives were furiously pressing the ignore button. I mean, can you really blame them? The Sussex brand is losing steam faster than a leaky boat. Hollywood is finally catching on to the reality that the Sussexes' once sparkling fairy tale is starting to look like the after-party no one wants to stay for. The glamour is fading. The stories are getting tiresome. And frankly, Netflix probably regrets handing them the keys to their kingdom. Meghan Markle has spent the last few years spinning a story about herself that only the most deluded would buy into. Let's not sugarcoat this. Her entire persona is built on one thing and one thing only: self-interest. It's almost laughable at this point how transparently she crafts her own narrative, constantly playing the victim while presenting herself as some sort of humanitarian hero. But don't be fooled. This is nothing but a carefully constructed facade meant to hide the ugly truth. Meghan is as self-centered and manipulative as they come. Let's start with the basics. Meghan's supposed commitment to social causes? It's laughable. The truth is, she's a master at leveraging causes to prop up her public image. How many times have we seen her showing up for a photo op at a charity event, looking like the poster child for celebrity activism? The truth is, she has no real commitment to these causes. If Meghan cared about anything other than her own self-aggrandizement, she wouldn't have thrown the royal family under the bus at every turn, airing her grievances to anyone who would listen. Her constant speaking out only reinforces what we already know. This is a woman more interested in securing her place in the Hollywood elite than in actually making a difference in the world. And let's talk about her relationship with Harry. If anything has become clear over the last few years, it's that Meghan is a master manipulator. She came into the royal family with one goal in mind: to use Harry as a stepping stone to propel her own career. Never mind the fact that Harry had spent his entire life in the public eye, navigating royal expectations with grace. Meghan came along, took full advantage of his naivety, and turned him into a puppet for her own personal agenda. Now, this isn't to say that Harry is blameless. He's an adult, and he made his own choices. But let's not kid ourselves. Meghan knew exactly what she was doing. She entered this relationship like a vulture, ready to swoop in and claim what she could. And let's not even pretend she didn't know what she was getting into. The royal family had been in the public eye for centuries, and yet Meghan acted as though she was the first person ever to be thrust into this high-pressure environment. Instead of respecting the institution, she immediately began undermining it, taking every opportunity to criticize the monarchy and gain public sympathy. The hypocrisy is truly astounding. Meghan and Harry left the royal family under the guise of wanting privacy, yet their every move is a public spectacle. Meghan loves to claim that she was persecuted by the media, but let's call it like it is. She craves attention. She thrives on it. If she didn't, she wouldn't have signed on for the reality show lifestyle that they've now carved out for themselves in Hollywood. Every new venture, every book deal, every Netflix project, all of it screams one thing. Meghan Markle is obsessed with her own image. It's not about the causes she pretends to care about, it's about the Meghan Markle brand. That's her true priority. What's even more troubling is her complete lack of self-awareness. The audacity of Meghan to sit in interviews discussing how hard her life is, how the royal family was supposedly racist, how she was made to feel like an outsider, all the while completely ignoring the privileges that she has enjoyed her entire life, is beyond infuriating. Meghan was never the girl from Compton she tries to portray herself as. She was an actress, living in luxury, with a lifestyle most people could only dream of. Yet, somehow, she's managed to spin her narrative in a way that makes her seem like a tragic figure, a victim of an unjust system. The truth? She's simply playing the victim card because it sells. It gets her the sympathy, the headlines, and most importantly, the spotlight that she desperately craves. And then there's the constant gaslighting. Meghan has made a career out of rewriting her own history. Remember when she claimed she never Googled Harry before they met? How charming, right? The woman who had every detail of her future husband's life at her fingertips, somehow pretending that she was too innocent to understand what she was getting into. It's a thinly veiled lie, but it's one that plays well to her narrative. And the media, of course, plays along, too. They perpetuate this myth of Meghan as an innocent victim, a woman who just stumbled into this whole thing, unaware of the chaos she would unleash. But we all know better. Her personal relationships have been nothing short of toxic. Meghan's ability to alienate friends and family alike speaks volumes. Her former close ties with people like Nacho, Figueras, and Delina Blacker have all but evaporated. The irony, of course, is that these were the people she once depended on, who defended her in public and stood by her side. Now, they're nowhere to be found. The same goes for her estranged relationship with her father, her sister, and anyone else who dares to criticize her. Meghan has a long track record of cutting people off, all in the name of protecting her own image. She doesn't understand loyalty, she doesn't understand friendship, and frankly, she doesn't care about anyone except herself. The second someone questions her, they're discarded like yesterday's news. And speaking of loyalty, it's clear that Meghan's marriage to Harry isn't built on mutual respect, but on her manipulation of his insecurities. Harry has always been a deeply emotional and sensitive person, and Meghan used that to her advantage. She convinced him that the royal family was the enemy, that they didn't support him, that they were holding him back. In reality, it was Meghan who was holding him back, feeding him lies, playing on his weaknesses, and making him doubt everything he had ever known. But let's be honest, Harry isn't the same man he once was. He's a shell of the person he used to be, isolated from his family, losing friends, and stuck in a gilded cage in Montecito. And who's to blame for that? Meghan. It's her selfishness, her self-serving agenda, and her utter lack of empathy that has destroyed Harry's relationships, his reputation, and his place in the royal family. So, what does Meghan really want? It's simple. She wants to be adored. She wants the world to worship her. She wants to be seen as a champion of causes, a beacon of hope for the downtrodden, and the voice of the voiceless. But what she really is a woman who will do whatever it takes to remain at the top, even if it means using people, manipulating the press, and tearing apart her own family in the process. The public might be fooled for a while, but eventually, the truth always comes out. Meghan's brand of self-interest will catch up with her, just as it has with so many before her. And when it does, there won't be a sympathetic interview or tell-all book that can save her from the inevitable fallout. The mystery of Meghan Markle is not that she's constantly in the spotlight. Anyone can achieve that with the right connections. The real question is how someone with such obvious, glaring flaws can manage to stay there. Meghan's transition from Duchess to D-list Hollywood figure has been nothing short of an embarrassing spectacle. And if there's one thing she's done consistently, it's throwing tantrums in front of the world. Sure, she might have convinced a few gullible fans that she's some kind of progressive icon, but the rest of us are watching with wide-eyed disbelief as she spirals deeper into her self-created soap opera. This is a woman who once claimed she wanted peace and privacy. Yet, here she is, plastering her life all over Netflix in the most transparent attempt to cling to relevance imaginable. It's all one big contradiction. Meghan's public persona is built on victimhood. This notion that the world is out to get her, that she's the persecuted underdog in an unfair system. But here's the thing about being a victim. You have to actually be one. And that's where Meghan's act falls apart. Her supposed struggles are laughable when you consider the privileges she has enjoyed at every stage of her life. She has money, fame, and a platform that most people would kill for. So, forgive us if we're not exactly shedding tears over her hardships. It's almost like she's auditioning for a role in a Lifetime movie. But the performance is so over the top that you can't help but cringe. Let's take a moment to discuss Meghan's rather unusual obsession with her own narrative. This isn't just a woman who's had some tough breaks. This is a woman who has made it her life's work to craft a perfect, all-consuming story about herself. Every move she makes and every word she says is carefully calculated to enhance her brand. That whole girl from Compton persona? An absolute fabrication. She's played that card over and over again, as though being able to drop a couple of lines about her childhood somehow justifies the cavalcade of privilege she's enjoyed her entire life. Meghan's entire life seems like a self-marketing exercise designed to make her appear as relatable and down-to-earth as possible. But here's the reality. She's not relatable, and she's certainly not down-to-earth. She's a woman who, despite having every advantage, still manages to paint herself as the ultimate victim. Her social media persona? Oh, it's a work of art in self-absorption. With every tweet, Instagram post, all patterns, Meghan reminds us that she is, in fact, the most important person in any room. Watch closely as she subtly positions herself as the hero in every narrative. Her most recent Netflix special, a 10-episode lesson in narcissism. Look at me, look at how hard my life is. Look at the injustice I've faced. It's a performance worthy of a standing ovation. Too bad it's all completely manufactured. There's a reason her content is so cringeworthy. It's impossible to watch without feeling the overwhelming sense that she's angling for something more. More likes, more attention, more adoration. And when the spotlight inevitably fades, she'll spin her next tale about how the world didn't understand her. Spoiler alert, the world does understand her. It's just that the world has grown weary of the act. Let's not forget how she's managed to isolate herself from everyone who doesn't fall in line with her vision of the world. Meghan is the ultimate queen of cutting people off when they no longer serve her purpose. Family, don't make her laugh. Harry's family, who once welcomed her with open arms, are now treated like an inconvenience. Meghan has an uncanny ability to abandon those who once supported her, all in favor of chasing after people who will offer her even more power and influence. When things don't go her way, she drops people like hot potatoes. It's a predictable pattern. The Sussexes once had a circle of loyal friends, but how many of those are still around today? Not many. Sure, she might have a handful of Hollywood elites who whisper in her ear, but the truth is, she's alienated anyone who had the audacity to question her actions. And what about Meghan's supposedly philanthropic endeavors? We've all seen the pictures of her with her arms around children, looking like a Hollywood superhero. But let's be honest here. When has Meghan ever done anything without the cameras rolling? There's no authentic connection to the causes she claims to champion. Instead, her charity work seems to be more about brand building than actual impact. It's like she's ticking boxes in an attempt to make herself appear like the perfect person, the one who's dedicated to changing the world. But change doesn't happen through glossy magazine spreads and press releases. Change happens when you put in the work, day in and day out, not when you show up for a photo op and then disappear back into your mansion in Montecito. Perhaps the most glaring issue with Meghan is her lack of self-awareness. Her ability to act as though she's somehow more enlightened than the rest of us is staggering. She's the kind of person who claims to be above it all, but constantly finds herself at the center of drama and scandal. Whether it's the ongoing feud with her father, the public fallout with her half-sister, or her increasingly desperate attempts to remain relevant in Hollywood, Meghan has made it clear that she has no understanding of what it means to be humble. Humility? It's something that might be nice for the rest of us, but not for Meghan. She's too busy playing the role of modern-day royalty. And by that, I mean someone who expects the world to bow down and worship her at every turn. The unfortunate truth is that the world doesn't care anymore. The bubble of fame she's so carefully curated is beginning to pop, and there's nothing more pathetic than watching someone scramble to stay relevant after their star has already begun to fade. It's clear that Meghan Markle is obsessed with being seen as a savior of sorts, a beacon of hope in a world that's so full of injustice. But here's the problem. People see through her act. The more she tries to manufacture these moments of perceived righteousness, the more she alienates the very people she claims to want to help. The sad truth is that Meghan's legacy won't be one of impact or change. It will be remembered for its arrogance, its self-serving motives, and its complete lack of understanding of what it means to genuinely help others. In the end, she'll have nothing to show for all of her hard work, except a tarnished reputation and a string of failed ventures. Looking back at the story of Meghan Markle, what a performance. It's almost as if she was born to be in the spotlight, except for the fact that she insists she doesn't want to be in it. The entire narrative she's been peddling since stepping away from royal duties is a masterclass in contradictions. It's as if every time she opens her mouth, she forgets what she said just 5 minutes ago. Her hypocrisy is staggering. But what's truly fascinating is how she's managed to convince so many people to believe that she's this victim of circumstance. Meghan Markle, a woman with a multi-million-dollar Netflix deal, endless PR teams at her beck and call, and a global platform, is somehow the oppressed one. It's almost laughable. It's hard to take Meghan seriously when she plays the victim card so blatantly, and worse, so often. She's the first to cry about privacy, but seems to have no problem sharing every detail of her life with the world. The endless interviews, the memoirs, the Netflix specials, the social media rants, it's all one big show. And who's it for? Certainly not the voiceless people she claims to champion. It's for Meghan. It's always been about Meghan. She can try to convince herself that she's some kind of modern-day princess, leading a revolution. But the reality is much simpler. She's a woman who craves attention and adoration, and she's willing to do anything to keep it. Every time I see her pop up on my screen with her well-meaning smile and her "I just want to help the world" rhetoric, I can't help but roll my eyes. The fact that this woman is still being portrayed as some kind of humanitarian is nothing short of absurd. She's a walking, talking contradiction. She talks about wanting to change the world, yet her actions scream, "Look at me, look at how amazing I am." From the way she markets her so-called charity work, to the way she uses her royal connections to boost her Hollywood career, it's painfully obvious she's not trying to help anyone but herself. I mean, really? How many times can you claim to be an advocate for mental health while simultaneously making a complete mockery of it by throwing tantrums over things like not getting the perfect press coverage? This isn't activism, it's branding. Then there's the whole "I'm just like you" persona that Meghan loves to project. The one where she insists she's not some privileged woman who married into royalty, but a humble girl who understands the struggles of the everyday person. It's hard to take that seriously when you're jet-setting across the globe, attending fancy galas, and living in a mansion. Meghan can tweet about empowering women all she wants, but it's clear she has no idea what real struggle looks like. And let's not even talk about the countless women's empowerment speeches that come off more like a self-congratulatory tour de force than anything of substance. It's as if she thinks her mere existence is enough to change the world, when the reality is that she's just spinning in circles, trying to make herself the hero of every story. What gets me the most is the way Meghan handles relationships. She's the queen of burning bridges. Family members? Gone. Friends? Bye-bye. Anyone who dares to criticize her gets a one-way ticket out of her life. But what's truly delicious about Meghan is how she still tries to play the family first card, while simultaneously showing the world how disposable people are to her. It's almost like a game. Once someone stops serving her, they're out, and all of it is done with such a carefully curated, "Look at me, I'm so enlightened" facade. There's nothing enlightening about dropping people the second they don't bow down to you. And yet, somehow, Meghan has managed to frame herself as the misunderstood martyr in this entire saga. She's alienated her family and severed ties with those who once stood by her. And yet, somehow, she's the one we're all supposed to feel sorry for. Spare me. Then, of course, we have the grand spectacle of Harry and Meghan's private life. The one they allegedly fought so hard for. They left the royal family to escape the media. But the irony here is thick enough to cut with a knife. Meghan has spent more time in front of cameras in the last few years than she ever did while actually in the royal family. It's almost like the moment she stepped away from the monarchy, she realized just how good she had it and how much more she could milk her freedom for. They wanted privacy, sure, but only if that privacy came with Netflix deals, exclusive interviews, and a constant media presence. What's worse, though, is the incessant whining. It's as if no one has ever experienced the difficulties of being in the public eye except Meghan. She's the first to cry unfair treatment, yet she's more than happy to capitalize on that same treatment to further her own agenda. If it weren't so pathetic, it might actually be impressive. What's even more frustrating is the way Meghan continues to play the savior role in every situation. She's always the one who has the solution, the one who has it all figured out. It's infuriating because in reality, Meghan is as clueless as they come. The constant self-righteousness, the "I know better than everyone else" attitude, it's exhausting to watch. The truth is, she's just another celebrity, like the dozens of others who try to turn their privilege into some kind of moral high ground. The difference is that Meghan is somehow convinced she's actually making a difference. Newsflash, no one's buying it anymore. Her public persona is a carefully constructed house of cards, built on the idea that she's more enlightened than the rest of us, more deserving of fame, more worthy of attention. And yet, underneath it all, there's nothing there. Meghan Markle is a brand, a well-packaged, overhyped, self-serving brand that thrives on drama and controversy. She's done nothing of real substance, contributed nothing of lasting value, and yet somehow we're supposed to treat her like she's some kind of revolutionary. But the truth is, she's just another celebrity looking to keep herself in the spotlight, no matter the cost. And as that spotlight fades, it's clear that her relevance is quickly dwindling. It's almost tragic, really. Meghan had it all: the fame, the family, the fortune. But in her desperate pursuit of more, she's lost the very thing that made her interesting in the first place. Now, she's just a woman shouting into the void, hoping someone anyone will still listen. But let's face it, the act is getting old. Meghan Markle is no revolutionary. She's just a woman playing the victim for fame and fortune. And it's only a matter of time before the world moves on to the next star.